Lads, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheffield United Way. And I'm here today with Mr. Hal Stewart. And in this video, we are going to be assessing the credentials of the top two prospective managers to take the reins at Sheffield United according to the latest bookies odds. So, Hal, welcome to the video. How are you doing today,
Thank you very much, Nick. I'm very good. Good to be back. Good to be talking about who's going to be the next manager at Sheffield United. Just so you know, I am going to cover one of the possibilities, Alexander Blessin, and you are going to be looking at Slavisa Jokanovic. So without further ado, I am going to take the role of the evil interrogator and say, Nick, who is Slavisa Jokanovic?
He's a 52-year-old Serbian former professional footballer who played as a defensive midfielder. He had a decent career playing for Tenerife, Deportivo La Coruña, and most notably Chelsea in 2000 to 2002. He won over 60 caps for Yugoslavia, as they were known then. And he's since gone into management and been successful in many countries, such as Israel, England, and he's now the current manager of Qatari club Al Gharafa.
I like it. You've done your research, sir. That's what I like to see. So what has Jokanovic actually done in the game as a manager or head coach? We'll kind of split the two as meaning the same thing.
He started in management in May 2008 with FK Partizan in Belgrade, who won the double, the league and the cup. He was also selected as the year's best coach in Serbia. Jokanovic led Partizan to another double in his first full season, winning the league by a margin of 19 points. He left Belgrade for a new challenge on the 28th of February 2012, and he joined Muangthong United FC as their head coach. I hope I didn't butcher that. In his first and only season, he led the team to the third Thai Premier League title in their history, going undefeated for the entire season. After that, he had a couple of spells in Bulgaria and Spain, which were brief and largely uneventful. He was appointed boss of Watford in 2014, and the Hornets were promoted to the Premier League. But then, on the 5th of June 2015, after failing to agree a new deal, Jokanovic left. After that, he went to Israel to manage Maccabi Tel Aviv and led the club to the group stage of the UEFA Champions League for the first time in 11 years. He then joined Championship club Fulham on the 27th of December 2015 as their head coach. After avoiding relegation by 11 points, he achieved his target of a top six finish in his first full season at Craven Cottage and led the club to promotion. But he was sacked in 2018 after a 7-game winless run. And on the 17th of June 2019, Jokanovic was appointed at Qatari club Al Gharafa.
All right, Nick, how have Al Gharafa done overall then?
He's been in charge for 52 games and they've won 24 of them, drawn 10 and he's lost 18, which sits them in fourth place this season.
All right, let's look then at the slight negatives because that's all, universally positive. But what worries you about him if he was to become the main man at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane?
The main thing that does worry me, Hal, is the fact that he doesn't stay at a club for very long. And quite often he leaves abruptly, sometimes for footballing reasons, but also sometimes for mutual consent reasons, which will probably always remain unknown. He had a journeyman career as a player, and it seems that's the way he's going as a manager too. Sheffield United needs to be a long-term project.
All right, what about the system? Because we know what Wilder has been playing, what feels like forever. But what system does Slavisa Jokanovic actually like to play?
Hal, it's hard to say because at Watford he played a 4-3-1-2 formation, but with Fulham he favoured the 4-3-3. Generally speaking, he likes his side to be possession-based attacking teams, scoring a lot of goals, and at Fulham his side scored the joint most in the league in the Championship. He's been known to be a big fan of attacking width, something that may be a problem at Bramall Lane with no natural wingers, but he's been known to push wing-backs up before and attack from the back, so could conceivably adapt. Defensively, this is where he can be unstuck. At Fulham, in the Championship, his side conceded over 50 goals in all competitions, 46 in the league. And if you compare that with Wolves and Cardiff from the 17-18 Championship season, they both conceded 39.
Nick, is Slavisa Jokanovic a risk in your opinion?
Well, what you could say is very experienced in the dugout, and he has a proven track record of getting teams promoted. He's got worldwide connections and a good CV, both as a player and a manager or head coach, and he commands respect from his players because of his achievements. Of all the managers we've been linked with, he's statistically the most successful, and he appears to be popular with both players and fans. That said, he is a risk because previously at Fulham, he had a lot of money to spend and famously spent over £100 million when Fulham were promoted and transformed their full starting 11. That didn't work out. The club were relegated and he was sacked by November.
So that is Slavisa Jokanovic under the microscope. And now it's my turn, having done my research on the other option that the bookies have as second favourite.
So, Hal, who is Alexander Blessin?
He is a 47-year-old German born in Stuttgart. He'll actually be 48 on the 28th of May. He had an unremarkable career as a striker in his homeland between 1995 and 2012, representing the likes of Lokomotiv Leipzig, SSV Rattlinger 05 and Stuttgarter Kickers. In 2001, he made one appearance in the Turkish Super League with Antalyaspor. He is the current head coach of Belgian side KV Oostende, who play in the Jupiler Pro League. And he's actually contracted to the club until the 30th of June 2022, having been there since the 1st of July 2020. So he's been in charge for 36 matches as we're recording this. Now, KV Oostende are controlled by the same majority shareholder, Pacific Media Group, as Barnsley, which I do think is quite interesting. And Blessin was part of the Red Bull setup from 2012 that worked with a lot of junior teams at the RB Leipzig youth department.
So, Hal, why are we linked with Alexander Blessin?
Well, this is why I think he's one of the lead candidates. He plays 3-5-2, just like Wilder. He favours fast attacking football and is a big proponent of the high press. Blessin has fully embraced the art of gegenpressing, and as we know, that is all about fitness levels, energy, and not giving your opponent any time on the ball, as made famous by Jurgen Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. He likes his wing-backs to support the attack and, just like Wilder, gets his left and right centre-backs to push up, leaving his main centre-back to guard at the back. He's embraced other sports and ideas for them as well, such as American football. Blessin utilises the help of, and I hope I get this right, Alfred Untiamo. Basically, he is a former American footballer who goes by the nickname of the Lion, which I can say confidently, and he's become part of the strength and conditioning side of the team there, whipping his players into shape to be able to cope with the demands of that kind of high-pressing, constant football. Sheffield United have United World and could feasibly transfer players around the collection of clubs, effectively feeding the main side, Sheffield United. Once these players have proved their ability, of course, in lesser leagues, they would then come over to England. Now, the real intent behind the ownership group, I don't think necessarily lies with this. I think it lies with the smart use and application of data in terms of player recruitment and shared ideas, such as tactics and training.
That's very interesting. Are Sheffield United the top of the tier in United World, would you say?
Definitely the top of the tier. And, of course, when we're recording this, playing in the Premier League, it'll be interesting if that's still the case, because in theory, Beerschot will actually be the team that will be in the highest league in their division and in their nation. But Belgium, as a sort of as a league, doesn't rank as highly, I don't think, as the Premier League, certainly, but it's probably level then with the Championship.
Probably doesn't pay as well, so that may be something for Alexander Blessin as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right.
What I want to ask you now, Hal, is you asked me about Jokanovic, is he a risk? Do you think Blessin is a risk?
Yeah, it's a risk, but everyone, I feel, and this is only fair, has to start somewhere with their big break. And I'm far more excited about an unknown quantity who might be a magnificent first-team coach than a known quantity who's already someone that's on the managerial merry-go-round. That's just my opinion, but I'm excited by this.
I think a lot of people will agree with you as well with that. Definitely. So what should we be worried about?
Alexander Blessin will have to go to the work permit exemptions panel. I doubt he will automatically meet the criteria, of course, with Brexit. That's something to think about. He doesn't know the league, the country, the city, the players. One big area of concern would be XG. So for Oostend, their chances taken from chance creation as they really underperformed with their XG means that they didn't take the chances they should have done. And in fact, underperformed by, and this is quite a large amount, 9 goals from their expected goals. Sheffield United are already a side, as we know, that underperforms our expected goals. And this is the main area we actually need to improve. We don't create enough or take enough chances. I don't know how you would look at this, but Oostend don't pass at the back quite as much as we've been used to. Not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, because sometimes it's quite annoying seeing your defenders just pass around at the back. Get it forward. Their PPDA, passes per defensive action, is at 8.85, the second lowest in the Belgian Pro League, behind only the league leaders Club Brugge, which actually suggests that it's a good thing. Oostend press both in terms of immediate transition and as the opposition penetrate into their own half, and they tend to press with support and with groups like we see with Sheffield United, making it very difficult for the opposition to easily play through that press. But when they don't have the ball in pressing with support, Oostend are the most aggressive side in Europe when it comes to regaining possession from the opposition. They have overperformed defensively. Now, on the website, Total Football Analysis, they deduced that the club has overperformed defensively to the tune of 1.21 goals. So that's very impressive from a defensive perspective. And they have conceded 39 goals this season from an XG of over 40. So that means they're expected to concede more than they actually do. Now, admittedly, that research on that website was done just before the end of the season.
People will say, though, Hal, that they don't want a novice in charge of Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the criticism that is levelled most at Blessin if he is appointed. Brian Robson was not a novice and had a CV that suggested he could get a team up and he could keep a team up. One thing you can be assured of is that our ownership will have done their due diligence. Now it's just a matter of trusting them. Do you trust them to get this vital appointment right? It's the most important appointment we will arguably ever make, and we have to get it correct.
Yeah, you're absolutely bang on there. You can't compare the Premier League with the Belgian top flight. So give me a comparison in the Championship, please.
Okay, now, with the resources that Oostend have and the transfers that they made, that's what I mentioned earlier, this is the equivalent, in my, and it is only my opinion, of finishing 5th in the Championship with Coventry City.
That actually sounds really good. That sounds very, very good, that.
I think so as well. And that's kind of what Nick and I have put together to look at the possible managerial or / head coach appointments that we could see. Slavisa Jokanovic or Alexander Blessin. We've only picked those two, not because we have insider information, just because the bookies have those two as favourites. And as with anything, time will tell.
Absolutely, Hal. And as we're looking at the bookies' odds, Jokanovic and Blessin are miles ahead of everybody else. Jason Tyndall's in there at third at 6-1, but I think that's just because he's currently at Sheffield United. Then we've got Eddie Howe at 8-1, John Terry 14-1, Steve Bruce, and then you're getting silly after that.
It's not going to happen.
So no, it's not.
Not with any of those names afterwards. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. I think the only other one that we kind of thought about was Slaven Bilic, and he's all the way at the bottom with 25-1,
which surprises me.
Yeah, it does me too. I thought it'd be between Jokanovic, Blessin, and Slaven Bilic. So, yeah, bit of a weird one from Sky Bet there, as they're the only ones that are really taking bets on Sheffield United at the moment.
Yeah, and who will be the new manager / head coach? Whoever it is, and whenever it happens, here on the Sheffield United way, we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah. And we'll support them, won't we, Hal?
We will. You've got to, I think, support the new man at the helm, whomever it is, because we all want Sheffield United to be successful and to win games of football, so it won't help being negative.
Exactly that. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to be the next Sheffield United manager. We will read and we will comment on as many as we can. Thank you for watching. See you next time.